2.5 billion pieces of content are stolen every day because online businesses aren't taking the right steps to prevent this from happening, costing them thousands of dollars and even their businesses. If you want results, you need to stop the copycats and prevent them from stealing your hard-earned work, and implement everything I'm about to share with you in this video, because skipping just one thing could be the reason that this isn't happening for you. So in this video, I'm going to share with you what a copyright is, why it's so important, and how to actually register your copyright the right way. And later on in the video, when we do it step by step, I'll actually provide you a free checklist so you can follow step by step along the way. And right way here is key. I have a client, let's just call him Mike for confidentiality purposes. He has this incredible outdoor apparel line, and he uses different animals, but in each of those animals, he has a specific amount of stripes and spots that he uses. It's really, it's something that's special to him, and that's why that number, and that's why he does it. In any event, he attempted to register the copyright to these different images and designs, and it took about 3 to 4 weeks, and the Copyright Office actually rejected. They sent him a denial letter for the application because he didn't do it the right way. The crazy thing is, literally that same day he got the denial, he was browsing online and he saw another online entrepreneur, seller, and I believe it was Etsy. He saw the same or similar designs, the animals, and they had the same exact spots and the same number of stripes. So he knew it wasn't a coincidence. He knew that they somehow stole his designs. So he reached out to the person and he said, look, obviously these are mine. And he gave some images and examples. And she ended up saying, well, where's the proof? You don't have the registered copyright. So if you don't have the proof, then I'm going to continue to sell. He immediately reached out to me. We ended up doing the application the right way. 3 to 4 weeks later, he received the registration, went over and handed it to, not went over, but online handed it to the person, and she immediately took the designs down. What is a copyright? Well, there's the boring legal definition, which is copyright is a statutory right of an author to control the reproduction, adaptation, distribution, performance, and display of a work of authorship. Copyright protects original works of authorship that are fixed in any tangible medium of expression. Well, what does that actually mean? Well, here's the real life definition. Copyright protects your original content. So any original content that you have, that you're putting it out there in some physical form, that's what copyright protects. One of the questions I get a lot is, well, what's the difference between a copyright and a trademark? Here's a simple difference. Trademark protects your brand, so your brand name, your logo, anything that identifies your brand. Copyright is protecting your original content, your text, your images, your videos, anything that's an original piece of content. So again, what does copyright cover? Literary works, so any textbooks, blogs, musical works, dramatic works, choreographic works like dances, pictorial, graphic, and sculptural works, which is any designs, t-shirt designs, anything like that, any drawings, paintings, motion pictures, and other audio visual work. So course creators, any videos, or any content creators, any videos that you take or audio, sound recordings, and architectural work. So it covers a wide variety of things. What it doesn't, though, one of the other questions I get, what it does not protect is ideas and processes. You actually have to take the content out of your mind and put it onto something. You actually have to create the thing. Just because I have an idea, right, and implement it in a way does not mean that copyright will protect it. I actually have to have it in some physical, tangible form. Why are registered copyrights so important? Well, more and more online brands are coming into the market every single day. I think online spending is set to hit like $1 trillion this year, just in the US alone, which is a ton of money. But with that comes more competitors, more competitors, more competitors, and more chances for people to steal your stuff. Again, from the beginning, 2.5 billion pieces of content are stolen every day. Also, with a registered copyright, you're entitled to money damages. So if you had to sue somebody for stealing your copyright, you're entitled to up to $150,000 plus your attorney's fees and costs. If you also need to sue somebody, you have to have the registered copyright. So you're not permitted to actually file a lawsuit for copyright infringement against somebody without that copyright infringement. There's a public record of ownership, and this is big now. There used to be this thing called like poor man's, I think they called it like poor man's notice of owning the copyright, where somebody would literally like take whatever they created and mail it to themselves, and that would be the date that the copyright existed. By putting it in the public and registering it, there's an actual date. Somebody can actually go to the Copyright Office and look up the copyrights. There's no excuse that somebody could say, well, I didn't know they had a registered copyright. Well, if you actually just went to the Copyright Office, you could see that it's right there. DMCA takedowns, these are incredible with the registered copyright. So every single platform, social media, hosting platforms, Shopify, anywhere you sell Etsy, they have a process where if you see somebody using your designs or any other type of copyright, you can literally say, hey, platform, here's my registered copyright, and they'll take those listings down unless the other side has some type of excuse, which usually doesn't happen. So it's a quick, efficient way to do it without having to hire a lawyer. And then look, it puts others on notice that you're actually willing to protect your business, that you're an actual business, you're a serious business owner. Although there are trillions of dollars going into the online market, it still is a small community. The online business world is a small niche community, and word gets around. And if you're willing to protect your business, then others may think twice about trying to steal your content. How do you actually register the copyright? So I want you to do two things. So number one, grab the actual checklist. I'm actually going to go to the copyright website right now and show you exactly how to register the copyright. All right, so this is copyright.gov. This is where you can search for copyrights. This is where you can register your copyrights. So the first thing I'm going to do to register is I'm going to go down to this white bar to registration. I'm going to click the little down arrow, and I'm going to go to register your work. And then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to log in. So if you don't have a login, you'll create one. But if you do have a login, this is where you will go. Okay, cool. And this is the screen when you log in. This is what it's going to look like. So over to the left, you'll have your first box, which is check registration case study. So any open copyright applications that you have will fall under this. So you can look at your open cases, working cases, all your cases together. This is where you'll look to see any of your open matters. So this is the first box. So when you want to go register the copyright, we'll come down here to the copyright registration box here. And there's various options. The first option is you have just a standard application. This is just a one-time design that you want to do. If that's all you have, that's where you will do it, whether it's a text, image, video, you name it, that's the standard application. That's the application we're going to use for this, but I'll explain the other applications below. So here are the other options. So you can do certain groups of published works. So by published works, we mean that if your actual copyrighted content is out in the public online, for example, then you can actually register groups together. So if you have a group of videos for your courses, you can actually do that in one application. Or if you have a bunch of modules in your courses, you can do that in one application. If you want to register your photographs, you can actually do up to 700 photographs in one actual filing application. It sounds like a lot, but if you're a big e-commerce seller or even a small e-commerce seller, you might have tons of photographs. You can register a group of unpublished works. So if you actually haven't put them out in the public, like Judy, we can actually do them as a group in one application to save money, save filing fees. You could do up to 10 actually in one unpublished application. And then these other ones are usually not, register one work by one author, usually not applicable. And then if you want to correct an existing registration, you can go down here. But for our purposes, let's go to the standard application. And what I'm going to do, I thought this would be fun. So if you remember the cool pirate that's on the first slide of this workshop, my team actually created that for this workshop. I thought it'd be a lot of fun to do that, to register that design. So that's what we'll do. So we'll simply click start registration. And then it's going to ask you with this start the type of work. So you'll have the various options: literary work, which again is blogs or any other types of writings, the work of the visual arts. That's what we're going to do. So anything visual arts, meaning designs, paintings, things like that. Sound recording. So if you recorded songs or any other audio. And then you have different things: motion pictures, AV work, or videos. But for our purposes, we're going to do the visual arts. And then it's going to click the box that you have the description above selected to entry that best describes the type of work you're registering. So it's an extra check that you are registering the actual type of work that it is. And you can kind of read through it just to make sure. So I'm going to click that and I'm going to go continue. Okay, perfect. So at this stage, we're giving a title. We want to name the actual thing that we're copywriting. And a lot of people miss this step. This is really big. Number one, you want to identify it for yourself to make sure that it's actually what you're intending to actually copyright, and you want to be able to go back to it to make sure that if you're registering all of these copyrights, that you know exactly which one you're registering. But also number two, if somebody's searching for a copyright that's similar to theirs, you want the title to stand out. So for example, Mike, we might have said, whatever the type of, I don't want to give it away, but the type of animal, 33 spots, something like that. So it's really identifiable that somebody can search and do it. So I'm going to click new for the title, and title type is going to be title of the work being registered. And for this, I might do like just, pirate with laptop. I think there was a laptop, pirate with laptop, copyright workshop, something like that. All right, so I know, and that hopefully the people that are searching would know. And then we want to hit continue. This next stage is all about whether the work has been published or not published. And again, published just means that you're putting it out to the public already. Unpublished is you have not done that yet. So for this, obviously it's published as it's part of this workshop and you all are seeing it. So yes, it has been published. And then it's going to ask specific questions related to that publication. Year of publication, 2024, the date of publication, we'll just say, March 1st. And then the nation for us is the United States. And then everything else can be left blank, and we'll hit continue. Now this next step is all about the author. Who actually created this thing? Was it me? Was it my team? Was it another company that I hired? Who actually designed this thing? Because with copyright, the actual person that creates the thing, even if it's my idea, the actual person that creates the thing and puts pen to paper with it is the one that owns it, unless I get the actual assignment, the transfer of the copyright to myself, which I always make sure to do. I always make sure my clients do if they're hiring somebody on Fiverr or Upwork or wherever it is, making sure as part of that contract, they're getting all of the copyrights back to them because they're paying for that design. It's their idea. Even though somebody else created it, they should own the copyright. So for me, with that in mind, new. So you can either have an individual author or the corporation or the organization, sorry. So for me, I'll do Sauer Legal, Inc. And then is the author's contribution a work made for hire? So in this case, if you had, if you hired a third party to do it, then yes, you hired somebody to do it. If you had one of your employees do it, then that would also be a made for hire because you're hiring an employee to do a specific task. So for me, it's going to be a yes. Citizenship, United States here. And then that should do it for that. So I'll hit save. And then what did the actual author create? So for me, that design is a 2D artwork. It's flat on a piece of paper, it's artwork. So it would be a 2D artwork. If it was a photograph, you'd select photograph, jewelry design, sculpture, map, architectural work, or other type of drawing. You would select the other items. And I'll simply hit save, and then I'll hit continue. Okay, so this step is all about the copyright claimants. The author, like I said before, whoever designs the things, the original copyright claimant. But if they still owned it, I, as the company, could actually be the claimant. I usually don't recommend that. I usually recommend that, like I said before, you have that person or that company assign the rights to you so that you would be both the actual claimant and the author at that time. Which is what we're going to do here. But again, that's your preference and your legal rights to do either one. So I'm going to hit new. Same concept as before. The organization name is Sauer Legal Inc. here. And then the address, this obviously isn't my real address, but 123 Main Street in not Columbus, Ohio. So close. 432206. Okay, perfect. And I'll hit save, and then I'll hit continue. So this step is all about limitation of claims. You can create an entire new design with other potential elements that are already copyrighted. And if that's the case, we're going to limit this entire copyright to only the things that we did. And I'll give you an example. This happens in Canva a lot. So a lot of my clients ask, if I do something in Canva and use some of their elements, can I copyright it? And the answer is no, you cannot, unless you're using just the fonts and the shapes. But if you create this entire new design, you might use some of their elements. You can actually limit this copyright application and carve some of those out. So for example, in my 2D artwork, the pirate, if the laptop piece was Canva or somewhere else, I would exclude certain material here. I would click on 2D artwork and actually let them know what is excluded from this. But for me, nothing is excluded, so I'm gonna hit continue. The rights and permissions section involves who am I gonna give rights and permissions to hear about this thing, right? If there's any issues or responses that are needed, who gets this? So for me, it's just gonna be, again, it's gonna be my firm, Sauer Legal Inc. Just put information here. This isn't my real number. And I'm just gonna simply hit continue. Correspondence section, similar to rights and permissions, except this is strictly for mailing and responses needed. Before is everything to do with the copyright. Usually these are the same. So here I'll just put my name, my email. So this is the certificate for mailing. So where should the actual certificate go? Usually, again, it's the same spot. For me, it's gonna be my firm. So once you get the registration, where do you want it sent? So Sauer Legal, 123 Main Street, State, Ohio, 43206, United States. Perfect, hit continue. And then if this was part of any type of like litigation or anything that you needed specially handled for that case or anything else, then you would simply click on any of these down here, but I'm gonna hit continue because that doesn't apply here. I am certifying here, this is a certification that you are the claimant, the author, whoever owns it, or you're hired by somebody that does. So for me, my name, obviously Evan Sauer, and I'll hit continue. And then we're gonna review the submission. So make sure that everything looks good. And if it does, you would add it to the cart. Now this is the copyright, the first time I did this, like whatever, 12 years ago, this was a scary thing because it's really archaic. So you add your actual application once you're done, you add it to the cart, you pay for it. In this case, it's $65, but you don't upload anything until it's paid for. So I'm not gonna do it right here because I have the information that's not entirely correct, like my mailing address, but after this screen, I would upload the artwork and then I would hit submit. And that would end the actual submission of the copyright application. After we submitted the copyright application, we'd wait like 3 or 4 weeks, respond if they needed. But to the right here, this is what the actual application looks like. It'll come in the mail. These are really fun to actually frame. So you can frame, a bunch of them around your room, whatever you want to do. But this is what the actual registration will look like when it comes.